You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
From aliens to ghosts, demons to angels, and from shadow people to the outlandish, Heidi Hollis is the Outlander.
Welcome everybody to my awesome Friday evening. You are listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander. So welcome to the show, everybody. Get comfortable. Get ready to enjoy yourself. This is the Halloween show. Oh, yes. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to talk about something really different this evening. I think you're really going to dig it. I think you're going to enjoy it. And it's going to take you to new levels. So first, I want to tell you what this program is about. This show is about bringing outlandish and interesting topics to the forefront, from aliens, angels, ghosts, demons, holy encounters, shadow people, to Bigfoot, to the outlandish. I always say, if it's weird, we're here, and now you are too. So you are among friends. If you don't know who I am, I'm going to tell you right now, I swear to God, when it comes to the outlandish, I'm someone who has been there, seen that, experienced it, freaked out, found some answers, wrote about it, got over it, and now I'm hoping to help others do the same darn thing and understand this kooky world of ours. If you want to learn more about me, please go to my main website, which is HeidiHollis.com. You will discover fun things there. Mysterious things. Weird. Oh, the odd things in this life. So I also have a YouTube channel there. I'm starting to put up some new videos that I think you will dig, where I'm going through some paranormal screenings, checking out some odd things going out there when it comes to some of these paranormal shows, and just kind of breaking it down for you. So please do join me. Go to youtube.com/Heidi Hollis, and you'll see my new videos up there. I think you'll dig it. And I want to talk about how you can hear this program, which is very, very cool. We have Inception Radio Network app, where you can listen to us at any time, or live, or recorded, or podcasted, or any of that other stuff. It's fun. It's cool. So check it out. And you can also dial a simple phone number, 712-770-8888. And that's how you can hear everything. That's how my parents listen to the show, is doing that. So that's why we keep it clean on this program, because parents are listening. No, that's not why. But and I welcome you guys at any point to go to irnchat.com, where you can post your comments and questions up there. And if you cap them, I can more easily read them, and I will pose the questions to the guest. So I'm going to say hello to everybody in there here in a minute. Hello, everybody. But I'll be typing in there right along with you guys. And also, if you go on to Skype and find Inception Radio Network, you can send a message to MJ, who is the master of this disaster. MJ's like, what? It's not a disaster. This place runs smooth. It does. I'm just kidding. So, yeah, send your questions to him, and I will get to them. And also call into this lovely show to speak to me or the guest, which is 1-888-919-2355. Whew, I tell you, tonight, because it's Halloween, I am going to forego the Outlandish Corner, because it's Halloween, right? And we have the Outlandish Corner that could last us a lifetime. I have so many emails. Oh, first, I should tell you, what is the Outlandish Corner? That is where you can write in about anything and everything you've been experiencing, or you are questioning, or you just want to comment about, and write me at dustoutlander@gmail.com. That's D as in David, A, S as in Sam, outlander@gmail.com. Or go to my Facebook page and send me a messenger, but sometimes I do not trust that, because I don't get all my messages. They filter it if you're not my friend, and then I'll see it 3 years from now, and I'm not kidding. My Facebook page, just put the number 1 and then Heidi Hollis, and same with my Twitter. at one Heidi Hollis. And so you'll find me all over the place. So you know what? Without further ado, I'm going to go right ahead and dig on into my fantastic guest. I have been hounding him for a while, and I think it's going to be worth it. I have Robert Bingham, who is a UFO summoner who contacts UFOs telepathically. Yeah, you've not heard this story before. This is going to be fun. Robert, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Awesome. Welcome to the show, Robert. Thank you for coming on tonight. You are the Halloween guest. I don't know if you knew that.
Well, I did know that, but thank you for having me, especially on this special day. I did have a great experience on Halloween. Matter of fact, I'd like to share with everybody.
Oh, sure it will. That would be fantastic. Let's do it.
Should I share it now?
Sure.
Okay. A number of years ago, I don't know if it was like 15 years ago, my girlfriend, she loved to decorate for all Christmas, Halloween, Easter. Well, on this particular Halloween, we would always have these big bags of candy, and we lived in an area where we didn't get much kids because for whatever reason. But this girl, she was about 12 years old. She looked Native American, and she was holding the hand of a really odd-looking small person. The reason why I say odd-looking, because it looked more like he was in charge than she was in charge. And he was about 3 feet, and he had a flight suit. It was midnight blue with all these sparkles like stars. And he had an upside-down pyramid, and it was lined with red and yellow in the inside. And it was a pyramid upside down. And he had the most spectacular face mask, which was like something that belonged in a museum, really, actually. It was like opal and had all the colors. And so I couldn't see his face. And he didn't speak one word. He didn't say trick or treat or anything. He just kept looking up at me. And so I gave him 3 bags of candy, but for some reason, they have this ability to make you not take pictures. So I didn't take no pictures because I always had cameras, But I didn't take pictures, and I couldn't figure out, man, why didn't I take some pictures? But I enjoyed the encounter. And what a date that he would pick where he wouldn't be noticed by too many people, and he can come and visit me, which was on Halloween. And he had nothing to say. But she, the girl, the 12-year-old girl, was so happy with him. She was talking to me. And but I just thought maybe that she was part of, she went voluntarily with them, and she was part of their...
Wow. Well, maybe we should back up a little bit on what your background is, first off. So you have had an interest in aviation and things of that sort since you were a kid. So how did the UFO element play into your life, and when? Like what took place?
Well, when I first seen a UFO was about 1968 during the Apollo launch, and our family was out on the porch, and we saw this red light, and it was evening, and one of us had a binoculars, and we're looking at this light, and it stood still, and it was like an orb, I guess, back then. And then it took off. After about maybe an hour, it took off straight up. That was very unusual. Then, like when I was about, I don't know, maybe 14, 15, 16, I don't remember, but I always look at Cherokee, or any plane that passes over my head, I always look at it. So there was a small Cherokee plane going over, and I looked at it, and behind it, up higher, was a cylindrical cigar-shaped object that looked amber in color. And it had portal windows on the side, and it was big, and I knew, wow, that's a UFO. That definitely is a UFO. In broad daylight, I said, wow, they do exist,
Amazing.
So then later on, fast forward, I'm an adult now, and I'm living in a boarding house, an old Victorian home, and I wanted to change rooms, and the manager, his name was Jaime, came to me and says, Robert, this room's going to be available. So I said, well, call me, and I'll check it out once the other tenant leaves from looking at it. Anyway, he said, it's a strange night. I said, yeah, tonight we're going to see an alien, Jaime. And I don't know why I said that, but I said that. And so I went back to my room, and he called me and went back to the room that was becoming available, and it was on the second floor, and it had a balcony. And he was out on the balcony. I was checking out the closet space, and I heard him say, Robert, there's a UFO coming down the street. And I said, oh, come on, Jaime. No, he said, there's an alien coming down the street. And I said, come on, Jaime, stop kidding around. He said, no, and he didn't speak English very well because he's from Guatemala. And so I thought, wow, what is he talking about? Okay, so I went out there, and what was coming down the street was a UFO. And it had facets like a diamond, but it was worm-like. It wasn't straight worm. It was like curvy and worm-like. And the wind was kicking up about 40 miles an hour, the Santa Ana winds, and it was not being affected by the winds at all. It was like if it was on a monorail. It was like if it was on a monorail. And it was eye level coming by the balcony. And it looked black from afar, but then when it got in front of me, it looked navy gray. And then it made a turn, and it went behind the house. So a couple of days later, I was taking my grandson out to fishing, and as we were fishing, he was about 3 years old, and I said, hey, Adrian, you want to see a UFO? And he said, yeah, of course he did, and one came, Wow. And I said, wow. Because I figured if I did it that time, I'll see if I could do it again. And then I just kept on doing it.
So you're saying that you're like, hey, this has happened to myself where I'm like, hey, you guys want to see a UFO? Let's see if we can make this happen. And I've called down UFOs on 3 occasions, and pretty magnificent response on one occasion that just, I thought it was going to flatten me and my friends. It just fell straight out. Just and huge. So, but I never thought, you know what, I'm just going to make a habit out of this. What was it in you that just said, I bet I could do this again?
No, I really felt that something in my DNA had popped out. And this ability that was just like a time capsule just came out.
And how long ago was this?
I thought it was I thought it was so important for me to gather all the knowledge I could. And so take as many pictures and everything, because I only knew that it was happening to me. I never really followed the UFO community at all. I didn't know what was going on in that world. So I started conducting my own experiments.
So how long ago was that, Robert, that first calling down?
That was about 23 years ago.
Okay, so you've worked this muscle for a long time. Okay, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna try this again. And how spectacular were these sightings? Were they always rather in your face, or were they kind of like at a distance and strange lights, or?
No, I've been privileged to see the big craft, the small craft, the medium craft. Like I said, I've been privileged to see some terrestrials, and
it doesn't matter where you're at; it happens everywhere.
Well, yeah. Just 2 days ago, I took a photo of the U-2 flying over me, the U-2 spy plane. Mm-hmm. I caught it for the 4th time flying over me. Now, they're not flying. There's only 12 in the world. The reason why they're flying over me a lot is because they're conducting surveillance and watching what I bring in, because the U-2 is a camera plane. Mm-hmm. And so it was about Tuesday when I caught it. I just seen it shiny way up there, and I had a P900, a Nikon, and I zoomed in on it, and it was the U-2. But that's the 4th time I caught it on. I don't think any other civilians ever caught it, but that's what I think. But Anyway, the fourth
are you
time.
posting those pictures somewhere?
Well, I posted 2 videos on my YouTube site.
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah, but I haven't posted this picture, this latest one I took. I'm going to hold off on it for a little while. So that gives you an idea that they do watch everything that I do. I've been found credible, as a matter of fact, by the National Science Foundation. My work has been found very credible, which they hardly ever find anybody credible. That's a fact.
How did they go about that? I mean, I don't know that. I'm not familiar with them. Who are they, and how did they find you credible?
Obama speaks of them a whole lot.
Okay.
And I got an email by a nuclear scientist that stated the fact that my work has been found very credible. I won't mention the name, though, but he is very famous.
So they just sent you an email and said, I looked into your stuff, you're credible? They didn't come out to research it?
I don't want to go too deep into that email, but yeah, basically, yes, my work has been found very credible. They just want to keep tabs on my any further success I have in my work, because I do a lot of things besides call terrestrial sound. So I wanted to say that the largest ship that I've ever seen was exactly like a B-2 bomber, but the only thing, it was much more larger. You could fit 8 of our largest aircraft carriers on its wings. Mm-hmm. That's how big it was. And It didn't make no contrails. It was almost out of the stratosphere, and no noise. And I could see it, even though it was almost out in space. I could see it, and that's how big that one was.
So
I've seen so many. I just can't, story after story I could tell you about them. They have little fighter planes, too. They do have their own fighters that are aggressive. I have to say that. And the only reason they have that is because they have to protect themselves. And just like we do, they have their military. And,
well, you say that you're contacting them telepathically. So how does that play out for you? What exactly are you doing, and who are you speaking to?
Well, I call them down. So telepathically means, like, what they do is they throw EMPs at you, which is information that you receive as a receiver. And when you telepathically send out a message, you're sending it out as a transmitter. People aren't aware that they're being subtly changed, but they are. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to think that they are in control of everything, but they don't realize they're being subtly changed. Right. And the way they think is being changed. They just don't realize it.
So when you're getting into a meditative state to reach out to these beings,
I don't get into a meditative state.
Oh, you don't? Okay, so how is this going? How are you doing this? What is your focus?
Just go direct. I go directly. I'm a conduit. My belief is that people have made it so complicated for contact, because they're too interested in writing books and making money off of selling books and making all this other stuff up, that it's really simple. When you're created to really simply call them and things like that. It wasn't difficult. You weren't created it wasn't created. Your abilities are really simple. The simpler you keep it, the more successful you'll be. It's people who go out there and make books, like I said, and put all kinds of other disinformation in there, and don't know what they're talking about. And when people say, Robert, where are they from? I tell them that's not important. That really is not important. And anybody who can tell you where they're from, believe me, they're lying. And
well, I think a lot of people try to figure it out in their gut, and they'll put their gut, and they'll swear that's the facts of the matter. They shouldn't put
it out there if they really don't know where they're from, and if they never were told directly where they're from, they shouldn't put it out there.
Some of these people will say they know because they've experienced it.
Yeah, but tell them to call some UFOs down in broad daylight downtown like I do, and then I'll believe them. But if they don't, then they don't have the association with them.
Well,
So
I can't even call my friends to pick me up on time. So why would aliens be so prompt to everybody?
I don't want to mention names, but
yes,
there's an industry that's been created in the UFO world. It's an industry, and the reason why I'm being stifled or suppressed is because I'm the real deal, and a lot of them. I'll challenge them any day of the week. Any one of them cannot do what I do. Although they've been saying for years they can do it, well, show us. I mean, I've been doing public events for almost 6 years. Public events, but I've been doing this for 20-something years on my own. I decided that I would go public because it's such an important issue, and that people know that we are not alone, and the world is going through an ascension process. And the main thing why the Galactic Federation is down here to monitor everything is because the people we got in charge are going to blow up the planet, and that's a fact.
They're trying.
So the deal is we got to stop that from happening. The Galactic Federation wants us to stop it ourselves. And they want to keep out of it as much as possible because it is our issue.
Now, you say Galactic Federation, so you know where they're coming from then, so you have an inkling of them as well.
Well, yeah, I've seen their flag, and they got about 7 planets, and but they didn't tell me directly what planets they're from. I always get the word Orion, so I suspect they're in the Orion belt somewhere.
Okay, well, let me ask you some questions in regards to some of these things that you're discussing. You're saying that about the industry, about ufology, and I've been in this for a long time too. There is so little money to be made in putting out books. Just so if anybody thinks they're going to make a living off from it, I think I know of 2. That's it. But for and they mixed it up. But as far as but hold on, the question that I want to ask you in regards to calling down these different beings, when because I know people that firsthand that don't go public that have had a lot of connections with alien beings that go into a certain mindset and what they're aiming for to talk or communicate with these different beings. So I'm curious, what is your mindset? What are you reaching for when you're trying to reach out to them?
Well, I know what the agenda is. The quest. The quest is for everybody, as many people on the planet, to get the truth. Once they know the truth, their whole perception of what reality is going to change. And it's like a matrix. Once you open that box and look outside the box, your reality is going to change. You're not going to see the world as you did before. So the more people realize they have the power within, as each one of us are powerful beings, so we are capable of really powerful things, as long as they're benevolent, But I've stopped already 31 typhoon cyclones and hurricanes already for FEMA, and just me as an individual. If you have 1 million or 1 billion people on the same page, the same energy frequency, you can turn around planets like Nibiru and have them avoid doing catastrophes to the Earth. You can do all sorts of things if they're on the same page. So it's just me as one individual turning away 30 cyclones, typhoons, and hurricanes. 1 million people or 1 billion people on the same frequencies can turn away planets.
Well, it's like the power of prayer. When everybody points their prayers in one direction, things get altered, and that's been proven. That's been proven scientifically. So that's
right. It's like the phrase says, "If you have the faith of a mustard seed, which is the smallest mustard."
Right.
You can say to that mountain, "Be gone," and it would be gone. Well, which people take it real literally, but if you look at it, what it's saying is size doesn't matter. Size is irrelevant.
A size of what?
Yeah, just as the size of any living being is irrelevant, or any living plant is irrelevant to the power that's within. So people got to wake up and realize that they got the power. It was given to them. It's a God gift. They are the sons and daughters of God, the Creator. Therefore, they are God. I mean, my daughter's just like me. She's part of me. Therefore, she's just like me.
But she's not you.
Doesn't matter. She has all the abilities.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's and the church and people would say, "Oh, that's blasphemy." Well, you can say what you want to say, but that's what I believe.
Yeah. Well, people can agree to disagree. I'm a Christian, so
right.
I believe as I believe. It's like,
have the right to believe it or not. It's up to them. They can take the truth or they can turn away the truth. It doesn't.
One truth versus.
I'm not telling them they have to believe.
Right.
If they want to believe,
Right.
If you
That's
want
the
to
way
go on
to
living
keep
the
it
way
open.
you've been living, don't listen to me.
Well, we'll keep it open. There's to each their own.
Have an open mind, though.
Yeah. So when it comes to you, speaking of this galactic planet of beings, what are you speaking of? Who are they?
There's a federation. It's a galactic federation, and it's somewhat military. They're monitoring the Earth and have been monitoring it for a long time. And the reason why we haven't got smacked by an asteroid is because they protect us. I went on a radio show and I spoke about this, that they're guardians of the planet. And but people don't realize, because it's not put on the media and everything. And the media controls everything. And I said, and this radio host asked me, well, can I bring them all over everywhere? And I said, I will. But I said, whether the media covers it right and covers it and doesn't lie, that I can't guarantee. But I will bring them. And so, well, let me go back to the meteor thing. 3 days later, a meteor was coming down on Russia, and 2 orbs went on the side of it. Somebody filmed it, and then went in front of it, and back of it, and did a grid pattern thing to blast it, and they did blast it, and only little rocks came down, tiny little rocks. But I believe one guy had a heart attack, but it could have been a hell of a lot worse. It was just a demonstration of what can really happen without these guardians out there. So let's go back, fast forward again. When I told this radio show host that I would bring the ships in, because it was last October, and it was 2 Octobers ago, I said, I told him disclosure's happening, but it's going to be a long process. So there was sightings all over the California, Arizona, Oregon, but the media said that it was a missile launch from the USS Kentucky submarine. I see right away they suppressed the knowledge. So, but I'm going to say something on your radio show, that the next one is going to happen in the daytime, and the media is not going to be able to suppress the knowledge, and it's going to be all over the world, and that's going to happen.
When is that
you
happening?
Heard it from me. Soon. Believe me, soon. I did a TV show for BBC of America. Mm-hmm. It's called Weird Science. And the host was a little British guy from England, and the director told him to tell me a question like, Robert, will the terrestrials make disclosure by coming soon? And that's when the terrestrials answered with a green orb. And it went right when he told me, and I told the director, tell your cameraman, film that, because I had went over that if they show up in a green orb, it means yes, and if they show up in a red orb, it means no. So the director's jaw just dropped, and all the cameramen caught it.
Wow.
And
That's
there was a
cool. I hate to cut in, but we've got to get to our first break. You guys, you're listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander, and we will be right back with Robert Bingham. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander. Remembering, always if it's weird, we're here, and we're giving you advice and insight on outlandish topics. Phone lines are always open at 1-888-919-2355. But I am aware most of you guys listen to this show through the IRN app, so I'm used to not getting live calls very often. It's all good, but you could come into irnchat.com, post your questions in caps, and I will get them. So, I am speaking to Robert Bingham, and apologies on cutting off your story there a little bit in regards to, I lost track of your story, but it was fascinating. You're talking about the Galactic Federation of planets, but continue.
Right.
What? Yeah.
Well, when I first found out that I had the ability to do this, and I thought it was more important than even the Manhattan Project. So I did my best to record it. I didn't really like the fact that I was the one that they were coming to. I really dislike getting the responsibility, and I said, oh, no, why me? But I knew that I had to face the fact that it was me. And so when they showed me all these different incredible things and what they were capable of doing, I took on the responsibility. So one of the experiments I thought was most important, considering my budget, I decided to get a happy face balloon. And I put 3 wishes, like I thought of Aladdin's lamp, and I put 3 wishes on it. Number 1, I want the remodification of the human cell, a photo of the cell that after remodification to defend against all.
Thanksgiving is a wonderful time to gather with family and friends and reflect on the blessings of the last year. Make your holiday celebration memorable by serving Diestel organic turkeys from Pavilions. This family-owned ranch raises turkeys on a 100% vegetarian diet free of GMOs. We are proud to offer these tender and juicy turkeys with real old-fashioned flavor. Pick yours up today at Pavilions. A world of difference.
Viruses, cancer and otherwise AIDS and everything, hepatitis. And number 2, I wanted a photo of the ultimate alternative fuel cell. And number 3, I said I want next week's Mega Lotto numbers to bring this all into fruition because I'll need the money. So I let go of the happy face balloon. The happy face balloon was going up, and then a stainless steel orb, like metallic, came right next to it. But I'm sure they already knew what I put on there, but they were showing me, they were looking at it. And I was taking photos of it. And as I was taking photos of the metallic orb or object next to the happy face balloon, something went by. I said, no. And I backtracked on the photo, and it was the photo of the remodified human cell they gave you.
I didn't hear you. Your voice drifted off. Remodified what?
It was the photo of the remodified human cell to defeat all viruses. Okay. That's how amazing it was. It was like, something, a miracle, what I mean? It was just, imagine the timing of me hitting the button on the camera and everything else. So I did it again. I took a picture and something else went by again. And so I said, oh, no, again, okay. I backtracked on the camera, looked at the photo I took, and it was a photo of the ultimate alternative fuel cell. But they never did give me the Mega Lotto numbers. What I got
go figure. Otherwise, everybody
what I got
would be doing
telepathically was that they didn't think that was the best thing for me. But anyway, so I handed the knowledge of the remodified human cell to a nuclear physicist. And I was told that 100 research teams around the world are working on that already. Now you can know why the National Science Foundation finds my work very credible. Anyway, it wasn't important for me to make money or fame in anything like that.
There's so little money or fame in this whole industry. So little.
Well,
I've been in this for over 20 years. But one thing I wanted to ask you in regards to what you're speaking of, it's to back up what it is that you're claiming what you saw and what it meant, and the National Science Foundation, and it's if for a lot of people when they hear this for the first time, it's extraordinary. It's okay. We're going on his word alone. So how do you?
I back up everything.
No, but how do you, as a person, how do you approach the regular Joe on the street to say this is really happening? If you want to learn, this is how. So how do you approach them?
No. You're not paying attention. I went to one of the most famous nuclear physicists in the world, and approached him, and he gave me a lot of time to listen to what I had to say. And
oh no, I heard you. I'm saying, how do you tell the regular person?
The normal Joe.
Yes.
I do my videos on YouTube, and I do events out there in downtown. I've been doing it for 7 years. Matter of fact, I'm doing one tomorrow. And downtown, people from around LA, I do them all over downtown. Okay. I started off at MacArthur Park at an obelisk, and I do it everywhere, and to show that. Well, anyway, and once you're there, and once you see it for your own eyes and see how intelligent they are, you got to be think too much of yourself if you think that they're just balloons or whatever. Or there's something man-made. They're not. They're very intelligent, and they're very capable of doing many things. That's why when in my video, it's called, I was told by the government, by an agent who has really got a job where I was at, just to talk to me. And he talked about UFOs, and I told him I was going to go public. And he said, but he never said he was an agent, but I knew he was. And he said, that's not a good idea. And I said, why not? He said, because it's on a need-to-know basis, and the public don't need to know this, Robert. I go, I think they do. Yeah, I think they do. Well, what are you going to do? I said, I'm going public. He goes, well, something's happening to you. So the first time I went public, almost 2 hours after I finished my public event, a truck ran a red light and would have killed me on my driver's side, except that I was protected by these Galactic Federation. He got whacked. And anyway, but they weren't playing around. They did warn me, and they did make an attempt. So they made another attempt, and they saved me again. So therefore, I made a video. It was called Summoning Techniques. And with a friend of mine, Jim Martin, he's from Sony. He's the vice president of Sony. He paid for the money to do the editing and everything. And it was to make money, so with money you can do a lot more things, right?
Oh, but that's the devil.
No, it's not the devil for me. It's depending on what you do with money. But anyway, true. So he said, Robert, he said, Robert, how about we give this for free? I said, a great idea. So when I put it out there free, it went around the world, and people in Russia started doing it, Australia, England, all over the world are doing it, in Taiwan, and Japan. And so now the U.S. government, it's already out there and spreading. So if they are going to make an attempt on me, I mean, they're going to have to really make attempts on maybe a million people.
So you're covering. Well, that's interesting. So allow me to ask you some more questions, if you. That's all good. Yeah. So when it comes to the regular Joe, so they're downtown Los Angeles. You're saying that's where you do this, and like say the skeptic is there, and they're like, "Oh, I can't wait to see this," and then it happens. Have you ever seen anybody's reality get crushed? And what have you seen?
Well, I've seen people. Their reality and perception on what the reality they thought was their reality totally changed, and it scared a few people. I mean, not a lot of them, but a lot of them are religious, and it bumps against the religion, like Catholics, whatever.
That's one element I never
understood.
That's one element I never understood is people who believe in God or Jesus think like they can't believe UFOs fly around and God. That's just the strangest thing. I've heard that for years.
Well, this is what I have to say. God made us in His image. We're very technological beings. We make all of this. All this technology we developed as human beings. Therefore, God's a very technological God.
I think He's very aware. So, okay.
Yeah.
The fascinating part is now you're able to call these UFOs where people could see these in daytime and nighttime. Is there a better time?
Yeah, I can call them in day or night. The other day I was at the University of California, Northridge, and I was there at 3 a.m. I work in the movie industry, so sometimes I work on sets. I seen a UFO, and it was a big craft. It was as big as a mile. And but he didn't. When I got my camera ready, it just cloaked out. But I got to see him. So I see a lot of them. Is
there a best time, day or night?
Camera. That one was at nighttime, 3 a.m.
Okay, but is there a best time that you see them though?
No, it's. There's no. People think that there's times and things and places like Area 51. No, I'll let all you listeners out there know that you can summon them in your backyard. I mean, you don't have to be at Area 51 to see what they want to show you. Go to my summoning technique video, how to summon UFOs, on UFO Robert Bingham on YouTube, and practice that technique. It's very simple, and you'll find that I'm correct. But I'm only sharing knowledge, and
it works every time.
Well, I couldn't guarantee it works every time. Some people put too much stuff. They want to bring drones. They want to bring smoke. They want to bring all kinds of things. And actually, it's very simple.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what is it? Go ahead.
And they have to have honorable intentions, not devious ones, because they know. And so that's the whole thing. You got to be honest and be true to yourself and them.
Do you see? I've been in this for a long time. One thing that's absolutely been the most annoying part of being involved in this industry are those who have such big egos, and it's like there's not a whole lot to have ego about, or they feel their way is the only way and they're the only right ones, everybody else is wrong, and they isolate themselves. They don't work together with others to try to find more answers, to bring more people to absolutely understand this phenomena. Have you come across that a lot too?
Well, of course. I had told some friends of mine, and I had an assistant named Eva Garcia, and she died about 1.5 years ago, and I miss her dearly, but I had to learn to get along without her. But her and I told her, I'm going to go to the UFO Congress in Arizona, and I'm going to summon a UFO right over the front of that Congress. So I went over there. We both went over there, and there was a lot of famous people that were sitting on these couches outside in this plaza area. And I went over there, and they told me hello, and so I went to summoning. I summoned, and for the first 15 minutes, nothing happened. So they were all sitting there, and I go, well, now I'm going to have to, they're not showing up because there might be elements of danger out there, but I'm going to have to command them to show up because they have to do this. And so they go, oh, Robert, you can do that? I go, sure I can. I'm a commander. I can command them, and I'm going to do that now. And when I commanded them, they showed up within a minute, and they were there. Open Minds Television pays for all of that UFO Congress that they support. I mean, that's their deal. So they came out and somebody brought them out and they filmed it and everything. But do you think that they ever gave me any acknowledgement that I did that? No, they did not. They gave it to themselves, as if the UFO showed up because they're having the convention, and it was me that brought them in. So I get a lot of that. So the other time I went there a year after, I promised not to do that anymore for them, because they're not going to give me any acknowledgement. So somebody came out and said, Robert, there's a guy up there that says he's the summoner inside giving a speech. I said, you're kidding me. Yeah, they got his name on the big screen, says the summoner. Like, well, that's how far they would go, you know.
Hey. Yeah, you know, it's a strange world. I named Shadow People in the Hat Man. Do you know how few people realize that? It's like it blows my mind. So I'm like, wow, where'd that come from? They never looked it up. It's like I went to my hometown in Milwaukee where I discovered Shadow People, spoke at a conference there. No, these people do ghost hunting walks and tours all over Milwaukee. None of them knew I was from Milwaukee and that Shadow People were discovered there. So that's just a part of life, I guess. I don't get it. It's the weirdest thing, and you're like, hello, what, you know. But it comes down to wanting to open people's eyes. You want to look to helping people figure things out in that regard,
right.
And you know, right. So it's like try to take the ego part out and just kind of go with that.
Well, I really don't have
you
any
got to.
doing this.
No, I'm saying that's what you got. That's what we have to do, because keep your eyes on the prize type of thing. That's what I mean.
Well, you know, there's what I tell people is, if you start your journey, you're like a seedling, you know. Let me give you an analogy. You open them up, they're like a seedling. And their journey, which takes years, they grow and they grow. And over the years, they grow. But human nature, a lot of them, you give them the gift, and they think they're already better than the master. And they are, you know, their mind is like, I'm smarter, I'm going to do this. They go, okay, well, you know, I have run into that a lot, you know, that the students think that they're smarter than the master. And then I go to events and people are telling me what's happening there, and I go, wow, that's you know who I am, you know. And
yeah.
Anyway,
is your background? Do you have Native background?
Yes, I do. My mom's Chippewa. My dad is part Cherokee and Scottish Irish.
Ah, okay. So do you think it has something to do with your bloodlines that you're able to do what you do?
Yeah, I do. I went to go visit a couple of cousins of mine that I never met. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, I never met them. We had a dinner, and they were in the 80s, and they look 100% Indian, and they're small. So I told them, I'm going to honor you and bring in some UFOs when we leave this dinner. And I did. I brought them, and we all got to see them, and we thanked them. And one of my cousins, she looked at me, and she goes, it's because we're Native. And I go, oh, you're right. Part of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I see. Well, is there a website that people can contact you by to get in touch or learn about your next events?
Yeah, just go on my YouTube. I put all my announcements for my events. If they want to contact me, they can go on my Facebook. I'll friend them, and they just go on my Facebook and they can messenger me.
So your Facebook is your full name. It's Robert Bingham.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got a.
Funny.
Go ahead.
It's funny how you brought the Native thing, but when I do my documentary, I'm going to open it up in a Native theme, because the Earth is the Earth is dying because of all the corporates and all the irresponsibility for making money instead of being responsible and doing it in a more micromanagement way that's good with the earth and all that.
Yeah, I hear you. Well,
Yeah,
I would
so-
love to hear. We've got about 5 minutes left. I'd love to hear what is the most incredible sighting you've ever had witnessed by the most people.
That most incredible, most people. Well, I did so many events where there was people, lots of people, and they saw a lot of things. So most of the exciting things that I saw was by myself, or with a few people. The most exciting thing was I saw one ship, and it was like an orb, but it was a bunch of plates. Just imagine like a soccer ball. You know how they have those diagrams on. Well, this was as big as a small house, and it had a bunch of plates. So at a distance, this spear would look like a completely round spear, but close up, you would see the edges. And one of those plates was a window, and it had the window put where I could look in, and there was a light coming out, and it was evening time. And so I parked underneath it, and it had a bunch of little orbs that weren't touching, but were placed in the center like a string of beads. It was about 7 of them. And they weren't touching each other. They were somehow magnetically attached to each other. And it was next to a high power line, I think, getting energy from this big high power line. So I could see in the craft, but I thought maybe somebody would look out the window and say hi to Robert, but they didn't. I figured they were looking at me through some kind of camera or something. But they telepathically told me to get out of the car and walk out underneath the ship, and they would take me for a ride.
Wow.
First thought that came across me was that they could drop me off on a planet and I wouldn't get back.
No, that would be worried too.
That fear factor was in there, like Ghostbusters. That's my first thought. So, and I was hungry, so I told him I'll take a rain check. But I tell you, if you do come back again, and I know I promised I would go for a ride with you if you did, and I'm sorry, but I'm just too hungry. I got to go home and eat. And I had no camera to film all this. And so
You're too hungry. Wow.
Yeah, I was really hungry. I just got out of work, and I did 12 hours, and I was a bus driver at the time, and I was really hungry. So when people tell me that they would go for a ride, I tell them, I don't think so. It's pretty scary. I mean, even though I know them and I have a relationship, and I'm still human, and my fear came up. So next time, I hope the fear doesn't come up, and I go for that ride.
Gotcha. Well, I have a question for you. We got a couple minutes left. What do you feel like all of these UFOs that you're calling down, are they positive? Do you think there's a conflict between alien beings there?
No. I told you I took a video of the reptilians, but just like the cartoons, the benevolent ones and the malevolent ones, they're brothers, and they both watch each other very closely. So whatever you're trying to make contact with, that's up to you. I can't tell you if you're trying to contact malevolent ones. And I'm sure if you go out there and you tried that, you could bring them.
Yeah. But, so you aim for the good ones.
Personally, myself, I bring benevolent ones, and I have a thing called discernment, and my discernment is that I'm all right, and everything's right, and I'm doing I'm on the good side, and so that's
wonderful. Well, I want to thank you so much, Robert, for coming on this evening, and this has been fantastic. Everybody, Robert Bingham, check out his YouTube channel and his summoning that he's able to do. He's the first to do it. He's the only true one known to be doing it. I've heard of you. I've heard of your work. So thank you so much for coming on. I want guys to stick around. We're going to do the Outlandish Corner here next. So, Robert, thank you so much. Everybody, you're listening to me, Heidi Hollis, the Outlander, and we will be right back.